Hey guys, I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how to install the latest update that I just put out today, the 28th of March. Lots of good new stuff to go through here. It's real easy to install, so just follow along. First thing we got to do is install a couple of extra apps for PlayStation and Nintendo 64 to get those working properly. It's EPSXE and Moving 64 plus FZ. So go to your Play Store, you're just going to search those, they'll pop right up. Seeing it popped up right there already, so just going to click on that and install it. Mine's already installed, so I'm not going to go over it again. Then we're going to do the same thing with EPSXE. Sorry, I had to drink of water. Okay, then we're just going to install EPSXE. You can install the OpenGL plugin and go in and mess with the settings you can actually get some really high-end emulation. It's good HD emulation out of this emulator. It works great right out of the box, but if you install that plugin, you can go in and you got a lot more options. Anyway, so don't start EPSXE right now. I did that. It was a mistake during the recording. So first thing you're going to do after you install those is open the Kronos wizard. We're going to install the build real quick. There's nothing to it. You're just going to put in your code. Then you're going to click install build. Not install Kodi, not update build, just install build. It's going to download that for you and extract it. I'm not actually doing it because it's already installed, so after that's all finished, then we're going to go and we're going to open EPSXE. It has to scan for BIOS files so it can run properly, and the BIOS are included in the build, so that's why we had to do that first. Click on Run BIOS, and then it's going to ask for permission to allow or access your storage. Give it permission, and then it'll scan and find the BIOS files all on its own, and it'll give you a message telling you that it's ready to play. Then you're going to go ahead and quit. And then we're going to start Moving 64 one time also, just so it can initialize. Then we're going to exit out. That's it. It's ready to play. So now we're going to go through the build itself and see some of the stuff that I added. So you'll see this right off the bat, extras section. Okay, I added just some. They're not real like actual console or computer games. They're their own little standalone setups. So Doom is run by a core called PR Boom. You can run all of these, Doom, Doom 2, all these extras. You'll want a keyboard for it to work completely. I haven't gone in and messed with the settings for the controllers to see if I can figure out why, but I couldn't figure out how to jump or look up with my controller. Cave Story is just a little standalone kind of side-scrolling RPG type game, and then Lutro, it's just a bunch of little mini games. Some of them work great, some of them are really laggy, but you'll have to check those out. Anyway, moving along. Under Nintendo, I added Virtual Boy. Lots of cool little games in here. Generally would have been meant to play with the whole headset and everything on, but they emulate just fine. So that can be fun if you can handle everything being red. Then under Sega, I added Sega CD. Sega SG-1000. It's just an old little computer, kind of like an Atari type setup. It's got some cool games on it. The arcade section I totally revamped. So I know it wasn't working quite right before. So I added this best of 2003. So that uses the MAME 2003 core. It's a specific ROM set. And then I added Best of Arcade. That's going to be the same one that was in there before. It's using the FB Alpha core, which isn't actually the right core for that ROM set, but most of the games played great. It's got some good fighting games and everything else in there. And then we got the whole MAME 2003 list. We got MAME 2003 Plus, which just has some graphical and sound fixes from the original MAME 2003. I haven't noticed anything different myself, but I figured I'd put them both on there. And then I've got MAME All. So that's going to be a fairly new ROM set. I think it's .193, and it's all of MAME. And I don't have the correct core for that either, so you'll find some stuff in there that's not working the way that it's supposed to, but again, most of it runs great. The 2003 and 2003 Plus and Best of 2003, most of those should just completely work. Some of them are a little laggy because that was pretty early in their development, but a lot of them play perfect. NEC, I didn't change anything. Atari, I didn't change anything. The only other two things really of note is the fact that Sony PlayStation and Nintendo 64 will work really good now. The controller should be already set up. If you're using a Shield controller or an Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller, it should just work. Okay, under computers, we've got Amstrad CPC, ColecoVision, Odyssey 2, MS-DOS, ExoDOS, which is just a different list of games for DOSBox, MSX, MSX2, those have some pretty cool little games in them, and those actually work great with a controller. You don't even need a keyboard. GCE Vectrex, and Windows 2.3. Now, a lot of these games are little cracks, and they're old. I mean, they ran on very old computer systems now, and we're trying to run them on Android, so not everything's going to work perfect. A lot of them do. A lot of them work perfect, and you won't even know the difference, but some of them don't. And as far as a lot of these, some of them won't work with a controller at all. You need to have a keyboard. You can plug in a regular keyboard, a wireless keyboard and mouse, and it'll work just like it did on the original computer system. Just plug it right into your Shield and you're good to go. MS-DOS, especially, these are, you need a mouse and you need a keyboard because you got to be able to use those to navigate. It's kind of the same thing with Doom. You'd be best off to just have a keyboard, but you can plug in any keyboard. A wireless one is great. I got a wireless one from Walmart for $22 or something. Came with a mouse and everything. I've been using it for years. It works fine. But you can plug in a wired one also, so keep that in mind. Hopefully somebody enjoys those. Not really my thing, but there's a lot of really cool old games like Command and Conquer and what was the other one? Cannon Fodder I was looking at earlier. Just old cool stuff, I'm sure, from some of your childhoods. So enjoy that. Let me know what you think. That's really all there is to it. Hope everybody likes it. Have a good night.